And I'll do this overview or introduction really, I think in less than 20 minutes, so we can get into what your interests might be and what are the aspects of our work that you might like to know more about. This is, as Verta said, this is just one more good step in the TDC CLP being the Community Learning Partnership partnership. As Vertus already mentioned, Brian Murphy actually was instrumental in getting CLP going. He was one of our founding and early founding steering committee members. He still is on the steering committee, has been a really good connector, as well as a connector with TDC, as well as a voice for this whole effort to develop democratic practice and engagement among community college students and for community college students. I'm the national director of the Community Learning Partnership, and you can see my face here, but also on our website, and you can see at least some of the national players that we refer to as our team, who are working in various sites and also helping us with our whole national operation. All of that's on our website. What we bring to this partnership with TDC is I like to think of it as a more comprehensive or holistic civic engagement program, meaning we are preparing our programs. There are now 12 of them established around the country, and about another 10 to 12 that are in discussion or in development. What we're doing is we're preparing civically engaged community college students for jobs, for careers in what we call community change, right? You probably pick up on much of this rhetoric and this context from the concept paper that I sent you last night. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but that's a concept paper, a contextual piece that we use as we approach funders, as we approach other interested partners who want to become part of these programs and of our network around the country. So our programs include both academic preparation and experiential learning that lead in all cases either to certificates or degree programs in community change studies. They're all called call something different in each of the sites we're in. Some are referring to their work as community leadership. Some are focusing on community change studies. Some of them are focusing even using the terminology community organizing or even change agents. It's all under the sort of same program direction that we've set up. And most of our programs and all of our programs eventually are connecting to four-year pathways as well. So we actually have some formal articulation agreements. I think that's what we say in the academic world. We have some formal academic articulation agreements in some of our sites. In other places, they're more informal, or they're on their way to actual formal agreements. What CLP as a network what our programs and our participants offer to new partnerships that I'll describe in just a minute, but what we offer to those new partnerships, and especially to the community colleges who join these partnerships, are a whole range of resources that that our participants are willing to share, as long as they know where the new colleges or the new partners are coming from and want to become part of this national national network. Those resources are consultancies, consultants, curriculum, evaluation approaches. We evaluate and track all of our students. We do student surveys and so forth, and participation in our learning community, our national learning community. So all of our sites share their issues, their problems, their resources, their solutions with each other within that learning community. And we include students in that learning community as well, students from our programs. So our mission is, I'm going to read some of this just to make it so I don't add too much of my own interpretation. Our mission is that we're a national network that contributes to community and social change by preparing a workforce of knowledgeable and skilled change agents, especially from low income and communities of color, to address injustice and inequality and improve the quality of life in their communities. So as Vertus indicated earlier, a strong direction we've moved in is this becoming a workforce development effort. And we've actually vetted our programs. I'll just give you one quick example. We vetted our program, for instance, in the greater Detroit area, metropolitan Detroit, where we met with 40 different employers from the for-profit and the not-for-profit world. They looked at the content and the training modules in our program, and they told the folks there at both Macomb Community College and Henry Ford Community College, that was a set of skills and the knowledge base that they are looking for in any employee that they would want to hire. And they told the programs there that any student or any graduate coming from their programs who has the credential, the certificate, in this case from the CLP program in those two schools, would move further up in the line for hiring, because they saw the what I call the sort of the community competencies that our students gain, and that's what they wanted in their workforce. Our basic strategies that then get played out in each of our new programs or each of our sites are that we build partnerships between the academic institutions, starting with community colleges and community organizations and agencies of all kinds. We develop programs then that build the knowledge and the skills that lead to a credential, that lead to a certificate or degree, and we are engaging various sectors within communities, social justice sectors, community development sectors, community organizing sectors, government agencies that serve, the elderly, that serve transportation needs and so forth. We engage all of those sectors in our programs. That's part of the local partnership. Our 5-year goal is that we are preparing and placing up to 5,000 new community change agents, as we call them, from our programs, actually placing them in jobs in their communities. Let's see, I like to just mention some of the some of the criteria, I guess is a good way to put it, that we use for establishing programs and for bringing those programs into our network are the following. First of all, they are all local partnerships between initially with community colleges. Some are also now with 4-year institutions, but they're partnerships between those academic institutions and community organizations. So this is not just not solely an academic program. It is a community partnership. The programs build knowledge and skills, and they lead to credentials for careers and jobs in community change. We're focused, the programs are all focused on workforce development. categorizing or classifying that as the community change workforce, right? Um, we're developing another key criteria is it's all focused on local leaders, local organizers, change agents who then will be working in multiple organizations and agencies in sectors as well as in business with a community change focus and preparation for that kind of work. And a key part of our criteria is that all of the programs join our national learning network, and they're willing to share and learn from each other, but certainly sharing the resources that you create in your particular program, adapted to your students, adapted to your community, but those resources are then shared with everybody else across the network. So it is a learning community. So I would just say, so in conclusion, I'd like to respond to any kind of any questions or particular areas that you'd like me to speak to. But my quick follow-up is that any college that's interested or college system that's interested in exploring this further or benefiting from or contributing to this effort, contact us and we'll start the discussion. I'll set you up with, you can be consulting with another school, another program that is already in this and learn from them. Vertus and I are thinking about actually creating like a professional development session. I guess that's what I would call it, where we could invite any of you who are interested in actually sort of workshopping this model and figuring out how do you adapt it, take from it and adapt it to your communities. So we're open to further conversation for anybody who's interested. The other thing I would just mention is that just a factoid is that all of the current programs that we have, all of the community colleges are about to join TDC. So that's part of our commitment as well, is to bring colleges, especially community colleges that approach us, to also bring them into membership with TDC. So, Vertus, it's over to you.
All right, thank you. And just a word about the idea that we had, or the workshop, the institute will be a part of our community learning. Our Civic Leadership Academy, which is now developing, but it'll be a part of that. And if you were to do it, it'll probably be sometime during the summer, for a couple of days here in DC, and to see the model, learn the model, and then to workshop your own with your own curriculum with people who have been successful. People like Cynthia Kaufman from De Anza College, Lena Jones from MCTC, and so forth and so on. So, and then bring them in and have them sit down with you, with your curriculum, with your ideas, and make it work and make it happen. So, and that'll be sometime. If we get people that are interested in doing that, nice trip to DC, taking some of the sites as well. We're stone's throw from the White House. I did not say stone's throw, but we are close to the White House. And just make a weekend out of it, but also it will be definitely for curriculum development, professional development as well. So with that being said, do we have any questions about community learning partnerships, or TDC's involvement with that, or any general questions about what's going on your campus and your needs, like what kind of program curriculum development are you interested in doing as on your campuses, would be a good question, or just any general questions as well.
I have one general question. Is there a cost for being a part of CLP?
At this point, we don't have an affiliation like fee or a membership fee. We're working on that. We will at some point want especially the colleges to contribute something to at least our core operations. The only upfront cost that there is there right now is that if somebody from one of our sites is going to fly to your campus and spend some days with you, that you would reimburse them for their travel and for their and maybe for their time, but there's not at this point, we don't have a formal membership fee. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question, but I know Patty has to run. Patty, are you good?
Yeah, I do have one quick question, and then when I'm walking into the building here, I'm going to keep listening. With the curriculum development, and I know that De Anza has been doing this, and I actually looked at their certificate and their courses and all of that earlier today. My question is, I need to get in touch with Cynthia Kaufman personally to ask her some of the fine-tuned questions that relate to our curriculum process here, in California. But she has so many different classes that are offered. And my question is this based on a type of curriculum model that you already have in place, or did De Anza go ahead and create their own model based on the types of courses that they have? So for example, in looking at a lot of the courses that are listed, they're very unique, and I suspect that there aren't very many, if any, other California community colleges that have that same set same set of classes. And so that's my question with regard to how that was actually developed.
Sure. So they did develop their curriculum, and they actually were one of the first CLP programs. They actually were part of the first group of 4 that then created this network. So a couple things. What we have across the network, and this can be found on our website, is a set of guidelines for what a CLP program, what content would look like. It's literally listed under learning goals for the programs and for the students, right? That becomes the guidance, and there's a vision and a mission statement and all of that. All of that becomes the guidance for each of the programs of figuring out what are the the core classes that they want to have in their programs. And then what has happened is that the different sites are the faculty members are in our teams are willing to share then their particular syllabus or their course description and all of that, with other people across the network. And I also could find for you, we have some place, I don't know if it's on our website, we've got what is sort of like the standard core classes that are in each curriculum. They're pretty standard around economic and race analysis in a community. They are around history of social movements. They're around community organizing 101 or community leadership 101. There's some core classes, and then each program is putting in to what they would call their required courses for the certificate or for the degree. They're putting in courses that are maybe already existing within their curriculum or that they're creating that are all adapted to who the students are, who the participants are. A little bit of a long answer there, but I think one way for you to get clarity from about De Anza's program really is to talk with Cynthia, and she can explain to you how and why they developed such an extensive curriculum that they have.
Yes, and thank you. And I kind of now I'm probably putting the pieces together. I think that my guess is that when the certificate program was put together, it was probably put together several years ago before so many different kinds of restrictions and mandates have been put into place.
Yes.
But the core classes, as you said, that's what I'm going to take a look at. And then
Yeah.
also, certainly, I noticed that they had a lot of the kinds of classes that I think any of us would have in our curriculum. They've renamed them with a
Yes.
prefix, but I think just getting a sense of what those core classes are, that'll be great. So thank you. And again, I apologize that I have to run, but I'm going to try and listen in as much as I can.
Patty, one other question. One question for you. Where is College of the Canyons?
We're located in North LA County.
North LA
so
County.
we are in Southern California.
Okay, right. Okay. You might want to check out also what's going on at LA Trade Tech and CD Tech
Yes,
in South Central.
I know that they're doing it also, and so I was going to check out their curriculum
and
as well.
It's a very different situation, very different model. Not a different model, but a different approach that they're taking there. And they have 20 years history of having run a community planning degree program at LA Trade Tech. I mean, that's what they brought into this network. So anyway, you might find that as another a good example of how this kind of a program gets adapted to a community, right?
Yeah, that's great. So again, thank you so much. I apologize for having to run.
Good to talk with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have any more questions? Yes, go ahead.
Bruce and Ken, this is Mike with Lead MN. My question is around kind of different ways to deliver this program. Specifically in Minnesota right now, we have a leadership certificate that we offer that really is engaging in this. But one of the challenges we've had is our students are just so fluid, and particularly in community colleges, they kind of come and go, and it's often hard for us to really kind of keep them engaged kind of throughout the year. Because of the challenges that they face. And so have you looked at the idea of like badging at all as a way to maybe create sort of chunk size ways for them to at least kind of come in, get involved, give them a little bit of information, and then they go back and maybe even using that as a way to draw them in to really get excited about the entire program?
Yep. Great that you raised that. You're raising you raise a critical question that we have in every one. Critical issue we have in every one of our sites is how to engage these students who, as you said, they're fluid, right? Life is going on, and they can't be a full-time students or whatever. And we are looking at the whole question of badging and other. I think I'm aware of it as badges, but other credentialing approaches, including credentialing in life experiences, or giving credit for lived experience already. So the short answer to that is yes. The longer answer that I would point to, or the way we operate is what I want to point to, is that your very question is the kind of thing that gets dealt with in our annual learning community get-togethers, right? So I don't know the ins and outs of all of the situations that each of our, now multi-state network has, the ins and outs of the colleges and what you're facing, but everybody is facing the question of student retention, of student engagement, of student completion, of trying to figure out how do you build a whole support system around the students that we're most interested in bringing into these programs, right? It really would be in conversation with your colleagues around the country, or at least a few of them, to get to that question. But badges is all part of our approach to the credentialing that we're now exploring, as well as which is also then connected to workforce development. Yeah.
Well, we'd be interested in joining in that conversation. We've been experimenting with it with our students here, and I have had the opportunity of meeting Lena. We haven't chatted specifically about this, but I would love to figure out how we could integrate it into some of our work, and then expand it through all the community colleges in Minnesota, sort of through our association. I think that would just really be able to get more people engaged in the great work that Lena's doing at Minneapolis.
That's great. So are you based in Minneapolis, Mike?
Yeah, I'm based in St. Paul, so just the other side of the river
Sure.
there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well,
It can sometimes feel like a different world, but we're just a few miles away. And again, we work with all the 48 community and technical colleges throughout the state. We're actually technically not an institution, so we're not accredited. We're a 501c3, but we are in state law as the official voice of students throughout the state.
Oh, wow. This is great. Yes, we need to have you and Lena talk more, but we also we'll get Lena to bring you into the bigger conversation that's going on within our network. That would be exciting. Yeah, you've got something to offer everybody else. Good.
Okay, I have a question. Is everybody my turn?
Oh.
I'm Diane from up in the mountains in Cumberland, Maryland. And we're just at that point where we're trying to evolve into a certificate program, possibly badges. We've been doing a lot of activities and service learning kind of events, but nothing that's embedded into the programs or nothing that unifies us. So what we're looking at is developing those core classes that you're talking about. But my question is, how do you work with those classes? How do you set a criteria for a rubric or a certification of those classes so that they meet the civic learning requirements?
Yeah. So I'm going to need to turn that question to some of our participants, and have the people who actually do that work and make that happen in their colleges talk with you. I am not equipped to go into all of that. And Bertus, you may have some direction on that, or some way that you want to point me or Diane to, but
yeah, sometimes it's institutional. It depends on the institution, and sometimes it depends on the district and different policies. Say for instance, when I was at Monroe Community College, we couldn't just, we could create certificate programs, we could create degree programs, but they wouldn't go as far if they weren't accredited by our system, which is the SUNY system. So we had to go anything that we wanted really to make and students to do and had to be accredited by the system, especially with financial aid and things of that nature. So there was a whole curriculum process that we had to go on through. Say for instance, I created a global history course, survey courses. And I had to go through our curriculum process as an institution. But then if I really wanted students to take it, I had to go through the SUNY system so that they can get the SUNY credits and have it transfer to four-year schools within our system. So, and I'm not sure about what the system is for Maryland. I'm not sure I don't think Maryland's system is connected the way New York's system is and the way some systems are. Diane, how are you like a silo or a standalone, or do you are your programs, degree programs, accredited by a larger system?
I think you're right. I think it is accredited by a larger system, and certain classes have to fall under a certain guideline to be eligible for financial aid. So right. I'll probably have to look into that. Yeah.
And that is the way to go, because especially with community college students, like especially with financial aid and things of that nature, if it's not a part of their degree program, they may have a little room for elective, but some of the programs are so tight that there are like maybe one or two classes of electives, and some of that are remedial classes, or developmental classes that take a lot of that. So, but if we can get them credentialed through the system and have them actually be transferable credits, that is what we need to do with our civic classes, is make them transferable, not just to the system within our states, but to other systems as well if they want to transfer. Because if they can't transfer it, chances are a lot of students won't take it, or it'll be a waste of their time and money. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, that helps a lot. And Ken,
answer.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can tell it's going to take a lot of research, but I will get on it. But
And I can help you with
Ken,
that too. And I'll be more than happy to help you with that though. The more and more I can learn about the systems of community colleges within our nation, the more TDC can support what goes on your institute.
Yeah. And see how to network it. But Ken, is there some place where all of this is database together, that I can, a site that I can see what other people are doing as a certification for this?
I don't think it's probably not packaged in a way that you would want it. We're just updating our website. I hope to have it all updated by the end of January, where each site describes their program, their process, what their certificate and degree and/or degree programs include, what the internship and the experiential learning is and all of that. We've just posted our first 4-year site, which is Westchester University outside of Philadelphia. They're actually referring to themselves as sort of Philadelphia West or something like that. And they have a fair amount of detail about their program there that might be helpful to you. But we don't have, the kind of sort of research database, I think, that you might be looking for. I think we more have to connect you with individual sites and to learn about their programs.
But Diane, do you think that something like that, some kind of a database or something could be useful? I think it could.
Oh, that would be, yes, I think that'd be great. I actually started to try to do it myself, but and if it was even just of the TDC colleges, what are they doing? That would be so helpful.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. If I could help you do that in some way, I would.
Oh, you just said the magic words. If you can help me, you don't have to say if. Yeah, you can definitely help me. And the thing about it is just like, because one of the original goals of TDC was to be, I have to say the word right, I always say it wrong, repository.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the wrong word, it's just like, that's not what you mean. But repository for, okay,
yeah.
But she got it. But a repository for, so now I'm going to say the word wrong. I'm not going to say it again. For these resources. So you didn't have to do a Google search, or you didn't have to, spend time doing that. And so it's about time that we start doing that. And so so that's another part of the partnership with CLP that we can explore, is creating some type, because I know that they had one at one point, but it needs to be updated, and that takes a lot of manpower, as well as, I have full control over our website. I've become a webmaster, so we can create that. But making sure that we also give credit to whom credit is due, and making sure that that we do it in a way that it's not, I don't want to say giving away things for free, but because if anyone can have access to that, I'm not sure that's the best use.
Well, this is Ken. Here's the a couple of things we've been doing and that we've had to tread a little bit lightly on, but we do have a password protected part of our website that is that is a collection of some of the resource materials, curriculum materials, all of that, and some syllabi and so forth from different sites. It's not up to date. It's an immense amount of work to cull that and get that from very busy faculty members and program directors and so forth. But one of the things we ran into and had to be very clear about is that much of what we were posting or gathering, especially if it was course descriptions, syllabi, reading lists, and so forth, that's the intellectual property of the faculty members who put it together. And so that's why and many of our faculty members across the network do not want to just post what they're doing because they're going to change it next semester, and they don't want to like have their kind of old or antiquated things there. So that's why we've set up the system where people within our network talk to each other, and they're willing to share their resources and their approaches sort of offline or one-on-one versus putting it all into a database that gets old quickly because they change, and also that some of these folks want to publish their own materials if they've put that amount of work into them. But I'm saying by all of that we were open to doing a lot of one-on-one or group gatherings, and this could be something we could be doing in a workshop. By the way, if we set up an institute or a workshop, there could be sessions where our participants could then share out how they roll out their model and their program.
And also, some of this can be put into articles that can go to into the TDC journal. I think that will be helpful. So that even though it may be dated, they're still it still can act as an archive or a collection of curriculum, and not just the curriculum itself, but an explanation of processes and reasons behind certain choices or experiences. I think that if we could get like Cynthia Kaufman to write an article, and she would do it about creating courses or and I think that will be a great resource, and actually publish it in the journal. That way it's published. She gets the credit for doing that, and it can be archived, and things of that nature, instead of trying to maintain a collection, which would be a job in and of itself. And because I don't know about you, but I used to change my syllabus every single semester. Like that didn't work. Let me change it. But to just have some examples or examples would be great to have. But I think that especially those that cannot travel, those that do not have a lot of professional development money to come to DC and workshop it, I'm not sure if we could do if you could even host one in for like a regional workshop. Or have some of our TDC campuses host a regional workshop on this. I'm sure that we'll be able to do that instead of bringing everyone down to DC, because by the way, Ken's not here in DC.
Right.
He's north of Chicago, so it's just a treat when he does come here, and I'm like, oh, let me treat you out to lunch. So it would be traveling for him as well. So
right.
Yeah.
Good.
So go ahead. Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, one last thing from me. I hate to say this, and it's so basic, and I can't believe it happens all the time, but here at our college, we're still trying to debate what civic engagement means. And it's every teacher has it meaning something different. So I don't know if, so we have all kind of definitions, that's for sure. I guess if there was some kind of curriculum syllabus or something that would explain it a little bit deeper. I don't know if you've already worked on that, but that was just one thing I was going to throw out.
Well, you know what I want to do, and that's why I had Ken Rowling. Oh, by the way, Ken Rowling is part of our national leadership team. If you don't know it already, he's on our national advisory board. So is Mary Frances. She's on that board as well. And also I have him on the working group for the Civic Leadership Academy, because I think that if we could develop some sort of an online course on, you know, Civic Engagement 101, we can have those conversations as to, oh, what is it really? What is it for community colleges? And I know that I like Tom Ehrlich's definition, but some people have added to it. Some people have adapted it. Some people have a totally different thing about what it is and what it isn't. Some people have some people even have a different definition of what is really service learning. So, I mean, that's a huge debate about what service learning is, what it's not. You know, is it volunteerism? You know, what is it? You know, that, and what is community engagement? At some point, we have to stop trying to say what it is and just say what are the outcomes? What is the impact that we're trying to make on our democracy, and go with that. Like, that is civic engagement, you know, and not so worried about the different nuances of different words. Should we use of or the, or, you know, that type of thing at a certain point. And, you know, because if we start grappling with what it is, we will never get to what it needs to be. So that's just my thing about it.
I like that.
But I do want to do that course on Civic Engagement 101, to be an online course. And because, I mean, a lot of people on this call have been doing this for many, many years. And there are some people who are being retired, and some people who are getting these because they're so involved already, and they're hitting the ground, you know, very, very fresh, and they're just like, where do we start? So, and we're finding a lot of that. So there is a need for this. So not just curriculum development for students, but there's a need for curriculum development for faculty and administrators as well of what this is. So, because if we don't have those people to be able to deliver it to the students and to inspire students and impart it to the students, then the students are sitting up here like, what do we do? And you know, and Ken is he keeps it going. He's very inspirational, but he's only one person. You know, he's only one man. And whenever he talks about this work, I mean, it inspires me every time I listen to him. Like, okay, yeah, you got me. But you know, but we need to really grow this movement. So
right, yeah, and there's people like me who are aging out of it. So we need the next 3 generations to pick up. Yeah, do this.
Mary Frances is going to be going on for a very, very long time. So we have to worry about Mary Frances and, you know, the Community College of Allegheny County. But I'm just joking, Mary Frances. But the thing about it is,
thank you.
I just have a deep respect and love for Mary Frances, of course, everyone on this call. But you know, I'm starting to grow grays too. And I'm like,
you're young, Verda. You're gonna be around a long time.
Well, we'll see. But at the same time, we have, if we're growing agents, if we have students who we want to follow them, we want to encourage them, we want them to keep on going and not stop when they graduate from our institutions. I mean, I think that is the beauty of community learning partnerships, because it's trying to do that. It's trying not to, like, say, you just have a college experience and just leave it at the door. No, go out into the community and be a change agent. And I think that that's what we really need to do. And so that's why I love this partnership. I don't know why it has taken so long for us to really connect the dots, and we're still working on that. And and I do appreciate everyone on this call and your interest. And the last question is, if we were to do some type of a community learning partnerships institute here in DC, I'll just say here in DC because it's not a central location, but we do have we do have the venue that we can use here at ASKU. You know, all flights come here, you know, that type of thing. You know, who on this call would be, I mean, it's probably during the summer, early summer or something like that for a couple of days, Friday, Saturday type thing. Would you do that? I mean, would you be able to do that or willing to do that, or both?
I would support Aaron Hoffman coming.
Okay. And Aaron Hoffman is also part of our national leadership team. He's on the the council for campus coordinators. So, and he's been doing this work for a while too. And lead MN, I'm sure that we could, especially with Lena already there, we could definitely do a workshop in St. Paul, maybe at the Mall of America again. and I mean, because how many colleges, and we have about 3 minutes left, but how many campuses do community college and technical colleges do you have in Minnesota?
So there are 48 campuses and 30 institutions.
So you said 48 campuses and 30, how many institutions? Oh, you froze.
30 institutions.
30.
So the way it works is one institution will have multiple sort of geographic locations. Right. But we're also willing to host it here at our office. We've actually done a pretty big transformation last year, turning it into a conference center, so we can host about 100 people here in our office. And the beauty of that is it's free, so.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So, I mean, I think that would be, I mean, we're kind of freezing up a little bit, but that's fine. And I think that will be something to definitely look into planning. In other words, you know, I think to do some regional things, like in DC for Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York City, that type of thing would be great for. And then to go to the West Coast in California, De Anza College host it, that type of thing, and have people come to De Anza.
They would love to do that.
Yeah, and then because that's North California. And then have like Los Angeles Trade and Technical host the one for Southern California. I mean, so we could really make this work. Even if we were to like write this all down, and because I believe in getting funding for all of this stuff, and not having a lot of people pay out of pocket so much. I think for something like this we could get funding for, if we can definitely guarantee that it would have an impact, and things of that nature. So yeah, but 1 minute left. Does anybody have any last minute questions before I thank you all for being a part of this info session? Yes.
Do we have ASKU tied into this?
No, not yet.
Because
but that's a good question, because Ken is working on that, because that pathway is essential. The articulation agreement is essential. And especially with I mean, that's one way to leverage our partnership between community colleges and state colleges and universities. So we're working on that.
Right.
So yeah, but there's just nothing concrete yet, but that's coming. That's absolutely coming. All right, so it's 4 o'clock now, and again, thank you for being a part of this call. And feel free to, and I'll do a we'll do a follow-up with this, definitely. Ken and I will do a quick follow-up with all of you, and then talk about what are the next steps through email. And also, feel free, because this is just, we have about 4 more info sessions to go. Feel free to share this with people on your campus, or join us if you're curious as to some of the other things that are going on. And I'm also, I mean, I still have to update the website, so this should be on the website as to the other ones that we have going on. And hopefully we'll continue doing sessions like this. And again, thanks for joining us.
Yep. Nice to meet you all. Right.